Madam Chair, roll call was taken at the previous special meeting, and we continue to have a quorum for this special meeting. The special meeting agenda is as follows. Number 1, roll call. Number 2, agenda. 3, discussion is 5 points roundabout project. Number 4 is public comment, and number 5 is adjournment. And the motion would be in order to accept the special meeting agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Abdo, seconded by Mr. Jones for the approval of this special meeting agenda as presented. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Bullock?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Wilhite?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion
You
approved.
made it.
Thank you, council. We are now in discussion, which is number 3, the 5 points roundabout, and it looks like Director Cappucci is going to lead that discussion.
Mayor, do you want to give any words or anything?
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Roberto. The reason we're here tonight is to start these discussions with the roundabout project at 5 Points intersection. Those of us who've been around here for a long time know that that's a dangerous intersection. The locals know how to navigate it, but most people who are traveling through our community do not know the right way to navigate that. We repeatedly receive phone calls about people not negotiating the proper turns in that signal, as well as near misses. So Roberto's team and our grants team applied for some funding for safe streets and intersection work. This checked those boxes, so we received funding towards it, and we thought we'd start having conversations first with the newer businesses we have in our downtown, because we're hypersensitive to that. We all have seen what construction projects in the road can do to businesses in our downtown. They've already been through 2 reconstructions that were that just annihilated everything down in our downtown. So first thing we did was we thought, well, we can push this funding back until 2028. So we wanted to wait as far as we could to let these people become more established. We had communications to make sure we heard what their fears and concerns were. And we're at that point now to start having more discussions on this project and how we move it forward. So that brings us to Roberto in the presentation today to start, over communicating this project. That it looks like it's not going to happen until 2028, but we want to make sure we smoke out any issues. So Roberto, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. I actually handed out a paper packet, and I wanted council to have a paper packet because the project is becoming more and more publicized. We talked about it at the State of the City. We talked about it in various stakeholder groups, and I've had a lot of residents asking me details about it, and I figured that if council had the packet, you could be at home. If you have a question, you can flip through it and talk to your residents about what we're proposing. But in a nutshell, the mayor kind of summed it up. We have the intersection at 5 Points, and I'm going to start the slide presentation here. The intersection right here that we're talking about is, if you can see my cursor, 5 Points. It's a 5-legged intersection. That's not a standard intersection. A standard intersection is a 4-legged intersection, a standard T. That's the safest intersection there is in design and geometrics. With this being a 5-legged intersection, it poses some problems. And I want to make sure I hit all the bullet points on the agenda here on the presentation. But as the mayor mentioned, we had a public outcry for improvements. Since I started here 15 years ago, every year somebody is complaining to me about the 5 Points intersection. Whether it's to place another sign out, to direct traffic or direct the motorists on what to do. And by all means, I can tell you, I can put a lot more signs out there. That's not going to solve anything. The real solve is the geometrics and what's happening out there. It's a 5-legged intersection that is only being controlled by a signal for 4 legs of the intersection. 1 leg operates on a turn arrow that nobody adheres to. So the 3 critical movements that there is out there that poses the problem is there is basically, I can't find that laser beam. What's that? Basically, Huron River Drive North, okay? Huron River Drive North can go left, right, straight, or diagonal through Goddard. And a lot of times what happens is when Huron River Drive motorists going north want to go up Osga, they have a green light. But they don't know that that means it's controlling Goddard and not Osga. And what they do is they crisscross the oncoming traffic. So very dangerous. We've had photos of basically the school bus almost getting T-boned by a driver. And it's like, that was like 3 or 4 years ago. And I'm like, okay, you know, what can we do? You know, we looked at different things. We looked at a slip ramp, but it didn't solve the rest of the turning movements. That's problematic too. The other turning movement that's problematic is Osga Road going southbound. That traffic wants to go, instead of going right, it wants to cut in front of northbound Huron River Drive and go straight through down south down Huron River Drive. So that's also problematic, but that traffic also wants to go down Grant. So as the mayor mentioned, most of the locals know how to mitigate through that intersection. It's the transient traffic that's dangerous. That's not going away. Anytime there's construction in the area, they all seem to kind of, you know, head towards 5 Points, and it just is a problematic situation. So what I did is about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I started bringing the concept of a roundabout to MDOT and SEMCOG. Because it's obviously, we don't have the funds to be able to do such an improvement like this. We have so many things going on in our local roads and other categories of our major roads that this was like, how can we get some help? We didn't create it. It is what it is through time. It's probably been like this for 150 years, this 5-legged intersection. What can we do? And the solve was a roundabout, and SEMCOG really latched onto it. They went out there, their personnel along with MDOT went out there and said, no, yeah, if there's ever a place to put a roundabout, that's it. So they granted us $2 million to build it. Now the cost of this project we think is around $3 million or $3.5 million. And some of that work includes water main work that has to happen, sanitary sewer work that has to happen. We definitely want to get the underground taken care of before we build the road over top of it. But in a nutshell, that's kind of the preface to this project. This kind of shows a little bit more of the dynamics of the intersection, the 5-legged legs coming into the intersection and how problematic it is. You can see the diagonal portion right there, which is the signal. So this is kind of a concept of what we would be doing. This is the conceptual that we have. We're going to talk a little bit about how this is set up in the geometrics. You can see that one point we wanted to do, here we go, and is build in these islands. These are curved islands right here. Each leg of the intersection would have a curved island. That is for pedestrian crossing. So you can see there's only a short distance a pedestrian has to cross before they can get to a recovery area and then cross to the next stage. So if you consider what we want as a walkable community, this is a safer intersection than what was there existing. Also, with the roundabout, I'd like to point out that there's obviously the center island. The center island. And that center island opens up the opportunity for some sort of amenity. Like, what does the city want there? The city could choose just grass. The city could choose just paving it. The city could choose to put some sort of statue or amenity there. That's kind of up to what the passion is that the community wants. Another point I'd like to make about this roundabout is you can see the school bus in it. So it's being designed so like a standard delivery vehicle or a school bus can, you know, navigate through it, but not necessarily an 18-wheeler or a semi. That's not the traffic we want down there. So that's another strategic implement that we put into kind of the design of the geometrics. So now we're going to talk about some of the property takes and what would necessitate the property acquisition to make this happen. So the northwest property, there'd be a full take, and we'll get into a couple other slides that show us exactly where those properties are. There'll be additional easements on the parts store, the auto parts store on both sides of the road of Grant. Here we go, and here it kind of shows the depiction of where we need property. You can see that square up in the northwest corner. We need that whole parcel. So that parcel is not part of the bowling alley. That is an individual that owns that parcel. It's not buildable. He currently has it on the market, and we're pursuing with a land acquisition attorney who's interfacing for us. He's getting market rate studies, and he's going to approach the property owner and try to purchase the property. There's also some smaller pieces of right-of-way that we need right in front of the parts store, the Goodyear store, and then on the opposite side of the corner where we need the larger parcel, there's another triangular piece that we need as well. Some of that is easement for the sidewalk, and some of it is right-of-way for the road. This kind of gives you an aerial view of the roundabout and what it would look like. So it just offers up a really good corner or bookend to the downtown. Now, I mentioned that part of the cost included some underground work. And what we're planning on doing is we're planning on replacing all the old water main underneath the intersection so that we build the new road and the roundabout over it. So if there's ever any break in the future, you know, we kind of mitigate that. We don't have to tear it apart, especially if we do something in the middle of the island. But you can see right there where all the existing pipes are. This depiction kind of shows you what you could do with the island. It kind of shows you what ours would look like. Ours would not be 2 lanes in each direction. It'd be 1 lane in each direction, so it wouldn't be as wide as this one. But you can kind of see how the setup is and what the geometrics would look like. They got the signage, you know, the yield sign, the directional arrows. There's some directional arrows in the middle of the roundabout. There's the landscaped area in the pedestrian crosswalk areas, and there's some landscaping and vegetation and brickwork in the actual roundabout itself. Here's another example of a roundabout. This is a smaller one. This community just happened to build like a decorative brick wall, and they put accent flowers and some vegetation and some trees in the center of it. As the mayor mentioned, we're very cognizant of the businesses and the impact to the downtown that construction would have. This is a maintenance of traffic conceptual plan. So you can see all the red, green, and blue line work. Those are all the directions that traffic would be going through our downtown and how they would be transported around the intersection so they're not going through the intersection. Now, a big kind of bullet point I want to talk about is that those orange signs that are in that slide, they're indicating businesses are open to the public, businesses are open. We want to make sure we over-communicate that. We don't want to take pedestrians and traffic away from the downtown. We just want to keep the transient traffic that wouldn't normally stop and has a route to go versus the locals that do want to hit these businesses up for some commerce. This shows the maintenance of traffic, stage 1. So as the mayor mentioned, we met with several stakeholder groups. We met with the DDA a couple times, actually I think 3 times, the DDA board. We met with property owners in small groups. We met with property owners in large groups. We had a night meeting where basically all the property owners along Goddard were invited in. And we talked about kind of the staging of construction. And the staging of construction is a big impact, or could be a big impact to most businesses. And what we decided and what we kind of all have come to an agreement on is that the water main portion would happen first. So as the mayor mentioned, this project is slated for 2028. The spring of 2028 is when we would start road construction. The winter of 2027, 2028 is when we would start the underground work. So we'd get in there, open up the ground, replace the water mains, put in temporary pavement, open the intersection back up, which the intersection will not be entirely closed. There'll just be intermittent flag control and a lane drop or something like that, just, minor inconvenience. Then what we decided was we met with the stakeholder group several times and we brought up closing the entire intersection. That wasn't an option. That wasn't an option from the mayor and that wasn't an option from the business owners either. Then we thought of maybe opening it up to 2 phases of construction. And then we started looking at the access and the access to all the businesses, and 2 stages of construction seemed a little bit that it didn't address all the access points to all sources of the intersection around the businesses. So we decided to break it out into 3 sections or 3 phases of construction. So here I'm going to talk about phase 1 or stage 1. Stage 1 would be Osga, Huron River Drive West, and a portion of Huron River Drive South be closed down and opened up to construction. That is expected to be about 10 to 12 weeks. Once that portion is built, once that's under construction, there'll be through traffic through Goddard Road and Huron River Drive, both north and south, and then also Grant Road east and west. The next stage of construction, stage 2, would be the southern portion of Huron River Drive with a portion of Goddard Road on the west side of the intersection. That would be built. While that's being built, Grant still would be closed, but there would be through traffic going north and south on Goddard and Huron River Drive, and also north and south on Osga into Huron River Drive, and then south on Huron River Drive as well. As we move into stage 3, Grant still would be shut down and it would be reconstructed, but there would be access to both of these auto facilities from Grant to their property line or from the south, while the last leg of Huron River Drive is being built and the north stage of Goddard is being built. While that is happening and there's those closures, there would be full north and southbound Osga, full north and southbound Huron River Drive, full west and east access of Huron River Drive west, and also Goddard South and north. So that pretty much buttons up kind of the 3 stages that's been developed through this process. We kind of talked about a timeline. Water main would be ongoing with design. It would be bid late summer of 2027. Water main construction would be October, fall, winter of 2027. MDOT letting for the road portion, we'd have 2 separate contracts. The city would retain the water main contract, and the state of Michigan would let the road construction, that would be fall 2027. And the intersection construction would begin spring of 2028 and summer of 2028. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
So my first one is like a small traffic thing that I see here that could pose a problem. This auto parts store, or the auto mechanic shop right here, it's on the 3rd page. But you can see that he has all his parking in the front of the building there. You can we can see it in that one. So you got all everyone's pulling into his garage right there on Goddard Road. So as they're coming around this curve here, he's gonna have people backing out kind of into the traffic as they're coming around a turn almost. So I don't know if that's gonna be something that we're gonna have to address with the mechanic shop. Maybe he has to change his routes of.
So right there,
No, so there's only one garage on this side, one bay, and then there's a large bay in the middle. That's where you see all these other cars parked at. Yep.
Right here?
Yep, that's his main bay he uses for all his mechanic work.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's gonna cause a problem, or maybe have to have a discussion with him on, you know, does he have to reroute his whole building and have them come through the back and then out traffic? So that kind of concerns me a little bit, that that's gonna be a lot of people, you know, in and out there, backing into people coming around a curve, kind of, you know?
So your concern is during construction or after?
After it's open, because from the picture here, you got the bend, you got the round there.
Yeah.
And as they're coming around this circle here, you're making one turn, making another turn, and then you're gonna be looking back to your right again, and these people are backing up.
Right, well, the only thing, and that's something we can take a look at, but what I'll tell you is, right here, that width, we're not making it any wider than it is.
Yeah,
It's gonna be the same width that it is today.
okay.
So I know the real portion of it, I think, where we're gonna impact him is right here, where he's got parking lot that we're actually putting in a sidewalk.
Yeah, he might lose a couple.
He's gonna be impacted there, and I think we did talk to him about his operations off of Grant. God, this pointer doesn't work. Off of Grant, but as we move on and progress with those stakeholder meetings, yeah, there's definitely gonna have to be some conversation. There's gonna have to be some conversation even with this auto mechanic. I mean, basically, we have to build a sidewalk and curbing, give him a drive approach. Right now, he's parking in the right of way, that's not even legal
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
You know, so there's definitely gonna be some changes, but I think this plan pretty much can address everything, and we can probably make it work for all these folks.
Okay. The other thing is more of a business standpoint. So I think the biggest problem, or the biggest concerned individuals that are gonna be impacted by this would be Walters. Obviously, it's like right on top of where they're gonna be at. Then you're gonna have these two mechanic shops, and then you got Captain Nemo's, which is right on the edge of it, which it could, you know, they could probably still get access from, southbound or, DoorDash and stuff. But I'm just curious as if there's anything that we can do to help them out while they're gonna lose some service, especially someone like Walters, where you see in this, phase one, where the whole road in front of Walters is gonna be, shut down. People are just naturally just not gonna wanna go there and have a drink or go bowling that night. So I'm just questioning us, I guess, is there any way that we can look into anything as far as grants or anything to help them stay afloat for these 10 weeks of possible no visitors, no guests coming into their
Sure,
facilities?
yeah, I can't speak to grants for
Yeah.
like the business end of it, but for the construction portion of it, there's gonna be a rigorous plan to
Yeah.
allow traffic in and out.
Yeah.
Even though I showed it shut down, during construction, there'll be gaps where part of the parking lot will be open, then they'll move to another phase and open up a different section and then reopen them up on the other approach.
Yeah, I know this needs to it needs to happen. I just think we need to make sure the whole time we're doing it, be really mindful of like these 4 people basically they're gonna be really affected by, possible a decline in sales or decline in, attendance to anything that they're doing for the next, 10 weeks, which it needs to happen, it needs to get done, but we need to
Absolutely.
try to, I guess, start the conversation of what can we do to help out to make sure that they are able to be open after the project's done? Because that's the last thing that we want, is we do the project, it looks beautiful, and then now we got 3 shut down abandoned buildings afterwards that they just couldn't survive. So, not really something, I guess, that you have to answer. I think it's just something that we need to have the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have some ideas on what to do. That is a publicity campaign, media
Yep.
blast of the businesses that are open and how to get to them. But we can go more than just our internal cable and media.
Yep.
We can go to outside channels
Yep.
where it catches a bigger, audience. But I think, there's some things that we can do to ensure that, the businesses are not as impacted as they could be, but try to mitigate some of the impact that they would have.
Thank you,
That's it.
James. Mr. Wadsworth?
If I can, first of all, I think this is good for the intersection. And in my younger days, I handled 2 fatal accidents there, about a couple years apart. In fact, one time, they took, it was Oscar, and they blocked it off with barricades, but that didn't work. People went around the barricades. But the only thing I wonder is we're just gonna purchase one piece of property?
No, we have to purchase like 3 small, so let me bring you back to that slide. Do you see that the properties in yellow?
Yeah,
Is what we
okay.
have to purchase. So it's the full property to the northwest, it's a triangular piece on the southwest, and it's that little, yellow piece in the auto parts store.
And what if these people don't wanna sell?
That certainly
We'll
could be a
condemn it.
potential, there's channels that we can go through.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, I think it's a good project. Thank you.
Anyone on this end?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Jones?
you got on here about the water main. We know you have to replace it. I'm not sure how old it is, whether it's ductile iron, whether it's cast iron. Okay, you're gonna come through there, you're gonna replace the water main. What are you gonna do about that? I know the storm sewer is gonna be, put in as along with the roads, you got to pay, but what about your sanitary? You have a sanitary running down there in the middle of Huron, I know it's on the, west side of Huron River Drive. And depends on the condition of that pipe, which is a lot deeper than the water main. That could be a problem if it, for some reason this pipe go bad or whatever later on after you done finish this. What are you doing as far as considering that?
Right now, we're out there videotaping the pipe. We have a company
Okay.
that is cleaning the pipe and videotaping it. Our plan is to line out the pipe. So if we have any leaking joints, that seals out the joints. If we've got to grout the joints first, we'll do that, then line it. But we're looking at everything, including storm that may stay out there. We're videotaping the sanitary sewer and the storm sewer, because some of the storm might stay, and we might reutilize it for the road.
Okay, because I know when you, in redoing this, you know, you gotta have your storm sewer on the outside the road
Yeah.
where water can run. But I know that sanitary is a lot deeper, and you said you probably relined the
Yep,
sanitary.
yep.
Now, is the sanitary that's gonna be going up, and is it adequate for any future expansion in that area? Whereas, depending on if any expansion come through there, is the sanitary there big enough to handle
Yeah.
whatever might come through there?
Yeah, it's got enough capacity. I don't expect a whole lot of development further south or west of this.
Okay.
But it has the capacity that it needs.
Well, we know west, you can't get too much because you run
Right.
275.
Right.
Anybody else? Thank you, Roberto. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 4 is public comment. This is the portion of the agenda for those who are in the audience and who would like to address City Council regarding tonight's special meeting study session regarding the 5 Points Roundabout project. To do so, please raise your hand, and after being acknowledged by the chairperson, approach the podium. We ask that you state your name and note that you will have 3 minutes to speak. Additional time will be upon the consent of the chairperson.
Is there anybody that want to speak on this matter? I think we can move that piece on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Number 5 is adjournment, and the time is 7:12.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, seconded by Ms. Roscoe for the adjournment of this special meeting. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wilhite?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Bullock?
Yes.